Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. We're here on REGISFALL, my favorite Ultima Online shard, to show you three builds. Actually, three builds upgrades. Yes, we've talked about the three builds I'm going to present to you in this video. We talked about them before, but it's been a while, and all three of them have gone through upgrades, either due to a change of feats or mechanical changes in the shard that caused feat changes for our characters. So if you are a UO player or a REGISFALL player or a gamer in general, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video to help spread the word. Without further ado, let's dive in. So this was the first build video I posted to this channel, which was my Berserker build based on multiple attacks. And it's no longer the same character. That character has died. As you know, REGISFALL is a roleplay server, so the story developed in a certain way that the character had to go. And I reforged him into a new Berserker because I just like this class so much. And I kept the build, the same build and equipment, but a few things have changed since then. So, first of all, skill-wise, not a lot has changed, except that this character is no longer a treasure hunter. Another character is a treasure hunter now. This is he is a fisherman, so he looks for treasure overseas. But the main change skill-wise was not treasure hunting, but actually the inclusion of aim. I did become a fisherman on him to free some skill points from cartography, and those went into aim. I'm not a huge fan of ranged weapons because I hate managing ammunition, but this character had a weakness. He was just melee, and in some duels or a tournament, I don't remember, but there was some PvP. There was a PvP event some time ago, and despite being a very strong character, I got my ass kicked by a mage, and I could do nothing about it because he just surrounded himself with energy fields, and suddenly I couldn't reach him. So what choice did I have? And Elion. And so I gave him aim to deal with situations like that. He is the kind of character who is always a step ahead, who is always prepared. He has that kind of mindset. So I think it made sense. This is really the only change here. Otherwise, everything is pretty much the same. The biggest changes were in my feats. When I made my Berserker build video, I said critical strike was not that good, and truth be said, it wasn't. I did not recommend taking this feat, but this feat has received an upgrade, an update. It was completely reworked, and now it's very worthwhile, I would say. To the point I gave up on Intimidating Shout, which is a Berserker feat for the subclass. So let me explain why I did that. First of all, Intimidating Shout is very strong. It's like a curse effect that lasts for 2 minutes, I think, or a minute. It's a decent duration and affects all enemies around you. But despite being so good, I found myself very rarely using this, mostly on PvP, which doesn't happen often. So I was not using this feat a lot. Why is that? First of all, base creatures have their experience points linked to their stats. So for example, if I'm fighting a hell mob, which is something I hunt a lot for the incrusted objects and artifacts, if I use the Intimidating Shout on them, because they are a base creature, when I lower their stats, I am also lowering the experience points I will receive by the end of the fight. So I didn't use this a lot in PvE either for that reason. Yeah, there are custom creatures, the REGISFALL creatures, and those can be affected by this without reducing the experience points you will receive. But even then, it's on a 3-minute cooldown. I understand this cooldown is so long because this feat is so powerful in PvP. But is it really? It has a counter, just like any curse debuff has a counter, which is potions. If you equip what's it called again? Enhance potions gear. If you equip those and drink your pots, you will recover the stats. And suddenly, this ability did nothing. Not to mention 3 minutes cooldown. Very long cooldown. Normally, I tend to favor abilities with shorter cooldowns that I can use more often, because that they will be more impactful. And let's take a look at Critical Strike. So 30 seconds cooldown. So just this is already superior to Intimidating Shout, in my opinion. They are very different abilities from one another, hard to compare. This is like a special attack, whereas Intimidating Shout is a debuff, an area debuff. Very difficult to compare, but if you look at the chances to use it, I didn't have a lot of chances to use Intimidating Shout without impairing my experience point at the end of the fight or in PvP. But Critical Strike I will use a lot in every single encounter, PvE or PvP, doesn't matter. It will always be strong. Simply because I can always use it. So this makes me feel I actually have this feat. Because the problem with Intimidating Shout is that it took a feat point, but I didn't feel like that feat point was well spent because I never used the feat itself. And I am loving the new Critical Strike. So when you activate Critical Strike now through a command, you kind of prepare your next attack to deal extra damage and to apply a unique effect, which is determined by the area struck. So for example, if the area struck is the neck, I think it causes silence. And now that person can no longer cast spells. If you hit the legs, that person is slowed. Now they can't run anymore. Of course, The effect is random. There are two more. I think one might be a mortal wound, which might be the head hit. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but they are all pretty good, especially in PvP. But this is not why we took Critical Strike. This is good, but what's coming next is even better for a Berserker. Damage is based on weapon damage, player level, and where the hit lands. So, before, Critical Strike was a targeting ability. It was not used in conjunction with an attack. Why is that? Why does that matter for a Berserker? Because of this feat, Berserker Rage. When you lose HP as a Berserker, your swing speed and your damage increase. Okay, this is your bread and butter as a Berserker. And because Critical Strike is now a part of an attack, this means the Critical Strike damage will scale with Rage. So this is superb for a Berserker. It's just so good. You can use this to start the fight, to deal some damage, but as the cooldown returns and you've taken some damage yourself, suddenly Critical Strike is dealing more damage. And we are playing a Berserker. We want to deal damage. We want to deal tons of damage. DPS is our main thing as a Berserker because we hit fast and powerful strikes as well. That's not all. I also have Shield Bash and Furious Assault, and from my free abilities I also have Power Lunge. Power Lunge is a targeted ability. Shield Bash targets whatever you're fighting. If you double click your shield to deliver damage and the stun, and Furious Assault is an extra swing on a 5-second cooldown. So I have hotkey, which is my, let me show you, my bursty hotkey, which is this one. This thing here, when I hit Alt E, it activates Critical Strike, sends a cooldown, then it activates lunge, it targets my last target, so whatever I'm fighting, sends the cooldown, and then it uses my Shield Bash macro. You can see here that I'm calling a Razor macro because I needed to use Razor to double click the shield, right? So this hotkey here uses all the 3 abilities at once, and when I'm done I will also use Furious Assault. This turned my DPS based character, well, it didn't turn him into a bursty character, but it gave him bursty capabilities. And that's the main change in the build. And I'm gonna show you right now how it functions. It's not very different from the build we had before, but I do believe it's stronger. And you can see here that we have something new on the shard. The buff Gump now works. And you're gonna see a bunch of icons appearing here, especially Rage, when I am below 85, I think, percent HP. You'll see the effects from rage up here. So let's check out the combo. We are here at Torgard Keep. I am not going to do the dungeon at all. I just want to demonstrate the build. Okay, making him my last target and got him to half HP. And you see, it's all on cooldown here. Let me adjust the sound here a little bit. Sadly, I didn't take damage. Let's take some damage here. I will unequip my weapon and shield so these two dudes rack me up. Because I want to use critical strike with rage. Here's rage. And you can see my weapon damage and swing speed is going up as my HP goes down. Oops. Okay, let's equip our weapons again. And I'm just gonna use critical strike against this dude. Okay, it's ready. Let's attack. 163 total. Okay, shield bash. Furious Assault double strike. And double strike is great to help proc our innate double strike from being a Berserker. I did try something a little different equipment-wise, which was to equip Windwalker's Talisman, which gives you a 3% chance to deal a second hit, to deal a second strike. I assumed it would make a much bigger difference than it actually did. Because I have double strike as a special attack on my weapon. I have Furious Assault for an extra swing, and Berserker's innate double strike chance. All that combined with those an extra 3%, I thought I would see a lot more multiple attacks, which is the focus of this build, but I didn't. So I went back to the regular fighter talisman. You can see it because it's I changed the appearance with a vanity ticket. It's hidden somewhere, and that trinket gives me more stun chance, which my weapon also does. So I prefer to keep my targets in place. Let's go fight a stronger enemy. These numbers going up here are my rage barrier. They will protect me a little bit. I am taking heavy damage here. Oh my god, I'm gonna go down. Okay, this is when we switch to ranged. And you can see I shoot super fast as well. And Furious Assault can also be used with ranged weapons, even though Rage cannot. You can see my damage is pretty low with the bow, but that's okay. Okay, time for a bursty. And that's it. So what do you think? It's a very slight, very mild upgrade to the build, but I am very happy with it. Of course, I will miss Intimidating Shout for the times it would be impactful, for example PvP, but I am very happy with the new Critical Strike. And the side effects won't show as much in PvE, but I think they will be a killer in PvP. Alright, let's go. I will pause the video and switch character to take a look at the next build. So here we are on our mage. He also changed story-wise. It's practically the same build as the one I presented in my Pyromancer build, which is based on damage over time. Practically the same with just some slight changes. The character did change, however. I loved Hansa, but he was a chameleon, and his story was very limiting to my roleplay. It was hard playing a character who lives in an island, so I changed him into something that is more approachable and with greater chances of accessing roleplay. So this is my new mage, and insofar he is a secret character, but now not anymore. And there weren't any changes to mage specifically to justify the build change. It was basically personal decisions. So skill wise, actually I should let skills for last in this one, because one of the feats we changed was taking Jack of all trades, which not only we are humans with extra 100, but Jack of all trades also gives us an extra 200, so we have a shit ton of skill points. And we needed that because now this mage is my treasure hunter. And I simply cannot measure how easier it is to treasure hunt as a mage than it was as a fighter, having to fight one enemy at a time. As a mage, I just blast everything around me and everything dies super quick. I just can't get swarmed, or otherwise it's me going down. So the changes here weren't super significant. Basically, I made him a treasure hunter with disabled device and contrography, but I also gave him wrestling. Not super necessary, because if you have anatomy and evaluate intelligence, these two skills combined function as defensive wrestling. Very little known fact. And if you only have your book equipped, you are using your hands. The book doesn't count as a weapon. This staff here is my book. I changed the appearance with Vanity Ticket. And this book isn't really a book. It's some other piece whose appearance I changed it to look as a book. But why did I want wrestling if it doesn't make a big difference? Well. Because now wrestling weapons exist. Yeah, and they have extremely low damage, but they have insane swinging speed. Look at that, weapon speed 50. Probably the highest swing speed of all weapons in the shard. Not strong weapon in the least, because they are supposed to be used by monks, whose damage will mostly come from key strikes. But look there, I slotted an argument into this one hit fireball. So 50% of my attacks will cast a fireball at my enemies. Unfortunately, that fireball won't have my Pyromancer special effect, which is damage over time, but it will still scale with intelligence and evaluate intelligence. So I am hitting super fast, and I am also applying proccing hit fireball super fast as well, 50% of my attacks. And if I use evocation, suddenly those attacks are now dealing an extra 40% damage. This is an upgrade as well, because it used to be less than that in my previous build. But since evocation scales with mana, we got ourselves a lot more mana. I changed my equipments around to give myself more mana, and especially lower mana cost at the expense of damage mitigation. I used to wear medium armor, which has more mitigation than leather armor, but some leather armor pieces offer you mana regen and lower mana cost, so I went for those. I think I have 35% lower mana cost now, the cap being 40, but 35 I think is good enough. I did have to sacrifice some evaluate intelligence for that, but it was neglectable. Sorry, as you can probably tell, I am not a native English speaker. I'm actually Brazilian. But you get what I'm trying to say. The damage difference wasn't that big, so I was okay with sacrificing a little bit of damage, especially because this character, despite being a mage and having burst capabilities, his main source of damage is damage over time by chain casting fireballs. And I would run out of mana doing that before. Now, not anymore, because now with lower mana cost and my insane mana regeneration, I never run out of mana anymore unless I'm casting very high level spells. But for my build, it works like a charm, because my main spell is Fireball. It's the one I cast the most when I'm fighting a single target. Because if you remember the build video, my mastery is Scorch, which also stuns when I proc it, and I can proc it on every spell. So the idea is to chain cast fireballs to keep my enemy burning with the burning effect, and also stunned with the Scorch. They can't move and they're being cooked alive. So the first change to my feats was Jack of all trades, to change my skills a little bit, and a change to equipment as well, to include lower mana cost. But that's not all. When I did my Pyromancer video, I didn't recommend Conjured Elemental. I recommended Leadership and Firestorm. These are the two feats I gave up. I gave up Leadership for Jack of all trades, and I gave up Firestorm for Conjured Elemental. And I stand by what I said before. Conjured Elemental is not a good feat. I hope someday it will see a rework, because it's not a good feat and I still don't recommend it. However, there are certain situations, certain builds in which it could work, and mine is one of those. Why is that? Well, first of all, Firestorm is a great ability, just like Intimidating Shout. It's devastating damage. It leaves embers on the ground that damage enemies walking over them. It's a huge area of effect all around you. But the drawbacks are also rather impairing, in my opinion. First, like Intimidating Shout, it's on a 3 minutes cooldown. So because I have to keep the cooldown in mind, I also found that I wasn't using this at all. Because I would think, what if I need this soon enough and it's on this long ass cooldown? Also, when you used it, your character could not move. He would stand still for 2 or 3, maybe 4 seconds. No, I think 2 or 3 seconds, as like a casting animation before the firestorm started happening all around you. A second for water. And you know, as a mage, you don't really want to stand still, because 2 or 3 seconds is all an enemy needs to catch up to you and inflict a stun, and then you're dead. As a mage, you need to keep your distance always, and you have to be mobile, especially if you are doing a build like mine, which we rely on a low level spell that doesn't deal a lot of damage on its own, but rather on the applications of my burns, right? I have a tick of damage from Scorch, more ticks of damage from the fireball itself, causing burn. And also when enemies strike me, they also catch fire from my Eternal Flame free ability. But most of all, the one we'll be using the most is the Ignite effect, the burn effect, the regular one. So this is a great feat, but I never used it. So it again felt like having a feat and not really having it. So why take Conjured Elemental now? Well, as you can see, I also gave up Leadership. All Leadership does is increase your pet control slots. This means that I could summon 4 of these bad boys. And I also found that I just don't use elementals. I never use elementals. It's very rare. I don't use them in PvP. I very rarely use them in PvE. Basically, I only use them when I'm lazy and I wanted something to tank for me. But even so, summoning 4 elementals, even with my insane mana regen, as a mage with 200 meditation, it was a lot of downtime, because a lot of mana goes into summoning a single elemental. Summoning all 4 meant that you'd had to, after every fight, stop, replenish your elemental guardians, recover your mana, and then continue on loop. And I hated that. I hate downtime. When I'm playing, I want to be fast, I want to be effective, I don't want to be standing still. So that's why we got rid of Leadership. I never made any value, I never got any value out of this because I don't use elementals anymore. So why Conjured Elemental? Let's take a look. So Conjured Elemental is a command, and when you use it, you summon elemental to your side. This is my my Conjured Fire Elemental, and it doesn't do a lot. The only thing it does is attack whatever I'm attacking slowly. It has a very slow swing speed, but it attacks from range. It will not walk to my enemies just to be dispelled or destroyed. It will keep running with me and shooting at my targets, whether I am casting or not. So if my build relies on low-level spells to inflict burn, then having an extra tick of damage is amazing. Because this one will keep happening whether I am casting or not. Even if I am just running, he will still shoot his little fireballs. I would love if those fireballs inflicted burn as well, but they don't. It's just a tick of damage. Based on my level, I think. But it's very low damage, truth be told. It also has somewhat longer cooldown. But, you know, after you use it, it stays there with you. And it just keeps following you around. It won't go away. And if it does, I can just summon another, right? So this is not a good feat, but I am looking at it as an extra tick of damage. That's all it is to me. I suppose it also has some roleplay value. And it's not like I can't use the regular elementals either. I can summon 2 of them, and that's more than enough. If I ever need them to tank for me, for example, or to deal with hordes of enemies when I'm not moving a lot, when I don't want to move a lot, when I'm lazy. But the truth is, most of the time, I will be relying on my spells to deal damage and not on summoned elementals. So this little guy here that I still don't recommend actually seemed valuable to my build choices, right? And I don't miss Firestorm in the least because I didn't use it a lot. When I want to deal damage in area, I will use Earthquake or Meteor Swarm, both of which deal very good damage, and Meteor Swarm also inflicts burn to my enemies in area. I think that those two are superior. They also cast faster than Firestorm and cost less mana because they are real spells. And because they are real spells, their mana cost gets affected by lower mana cost property, which Firestorm does not, as far as I know at least. And because evocation scales with current mana, I don't want to start the fight with half mana, right? And that's the only situation I can see you using Firestorm in the beginning of the fight, because you use it and then you have to run because you stood still for so long, the enemies are around you. And you want to cast it and run just to leave the embers on the ground for enemies to walk upon and get damaged. So after using Firestorm, using evocation was less cost effective because it would consume a lot of mana. Let's take a look at how the build functions now with these changes. So let's do our arc protection for our mana shield. Okay, I already have magic reflection up. Let's buff up. And let's go. The elemental, and I don't have to issue comments, voice comments like I'll follow, I'll kill, he will attack whatever I'm attacking. See? So let's chain fireballs. Scorch. Scorch. And he not once could get to me. Look at how fast we recovered our mana, and we didn't spend any at all. I think it was, what, 10 total? And it recovers super fast as well. So I can chain fireballs for free. It's basically a cantrip for me now. And the elemental did his job. He shot some fireballs, and did damage. Not a lot, but hey, every little bit helps. Let's see if we can find... Okay, so earthquake. Another earthquake. Powers, flame surge, flame nova, and he's dead. I didn't even cast fireball this time. I used my feats and earthquake. Cost a bit more mana, but burst capabilities if I need them. The noises it makes are a bit annoying. I will probably have to filter those. Let me try something here. And I'm just gonna stand here, taking damage, but that's okay. I have my mana shield protecting me. Because I wanted to inflict eternal flame burning on them. They're now both dead. I will replenish my shield as that skeleton gets up. Meditate. Look at how fast my mana regen is now. Fireball chain. And this damage pillar appearing on top of an enemy's head is what we live for. Okay, let's get our shield up again and go against the stronger guy downstairs. And we're gonna use everything on him. I think, I don't know if this guy can still be dispelled, but because he just follows me, enemies are usually targeting me and not it. Oh fuck, my elemental went upstairs. Yeah, it's not very smart, as you can see. Now it's with me. Uh-oh, I am stunned. Two enemies coming at me. My shield is low, so we need some big spells. Evocation as well. We need distance. Yeah, these enemies is low us. So you can see I am not doing anything, but the elemental kept shooting at that dude while it was in range. Oh, he's attacking my elemental, and he's super weak. Okay, but now he's dead, and he can't run from me because I will keep stunning him. Yeah, the elemental can be destroyed rather quickly. So I am actually glad that it follows me around and doesn't engage. So overall, not a great fit in the least, but is still more useful for my build, for this specific build, still more useful than Firestorm. With that said, let's go to the last build. I will pause and switch characters. And here we are with our last build upgrade. This was one of the most recent videos I did. My Shapeshifter. Well, they're called Predators in this iteration, but I don't like that name a lot for obvious reasons. But anyways, this is my Shapeshifter Druid. It's still the same character, Leaf. Probably a very different appearance than when I made the video, but same character. However, very different build in every aspect. The build I did for him was called Thousand Forms because I changed my forms, my wild shapes, like they are weapons. That's the whole point of the build. We change forms during combat to use their special effects and apply different damage types for enemies like poison, bleed, burn. Also, so good DPS. The the strongest point of this character here is it's not anything in specific. I see shapeshifters as a kind of generalist, right? Generalist class, because you can do many things. You can fill many roles in a party. You can be a tank. You can be a rogue. You can deal damage over time. You can deal burst damage. You can do all of these things without being specialized in any of them. So you do them good. They're good. They're not excellent, but they're pretty decent, I would say. So I wanted to turn my generalist class, because you already can do so much as a shapeshifter, that I kept asking myself, what's the most important stat for me to have if I already can do everything without having to invest heavily on equipment, for example? Because when I'm shapeshifted, I can only wear jewelry. Everything else falls off. So how could I change this character significantly? Well, what made us change him some was a change to feats. I didn't change his skills, exact same skills as the first video, but I did change his feats. When I did the video, my original video, I took leadership because he had some taming capabilities, which he still does, but he can't control as many animals as before. But just like my Pyromancer, I found that I relied very little on my pets for damage. And same issue with downtime, because this character, because he's a shapeshifter, he will be more often than not turned into an animal. And when you are an animal, you can't cast spells or use bandages. And even if I could use bandages, I wouldn't be able to bandage my pets because I had no points for veterinary. So my only means of healing my pets were my healing spells, which are not super great because I am not a restoration druid. I am a shapeshifter druid. So I found that I would go into a fight, my animals would get damaged. After the fight, I would have to heal them up, and then I would have to shapeshift to human, heal them up, shapeshift back to animal, recover my stats, and go to the next fight. It was a lot of downtime, and I don't like downtime at all. So leadership was removed, and we replaced it with beast lore. And if you remember, in my original druid video, I didn't recommend beast lore either, but beast lore received a rework. Look, I have never played on a UO shard with as frequent and as many updates as REGISFALL. And the developer really listens to what the community says if it makes sense with the game, of course. And I think I had I posted a suggestion for Beast Lore to have it changed, and other Druid players also commented they would like to see this feat reworked, and it was. And now it's pretty good. So when you take this feat, you can select one out of 3 specializations. It's the first of its type, very unique. It's the first feat with practically 3 feats in it. So these are the specialization. Bestial Wrath increases damage for controlled creatures by 1% per player level. Iron Will increases healing by 10%. And Stun Resistance, so basically more damage from your controlled creatures. You can heal them more with this one. Neither of which interest us. We are no longer tamers. And actually at some point I gave up taming entirely and just relied on elementals. I think that's what's in the original Druid Shapeshifter video perhaps. But I used leadership anyways to have 4 earth elementals out. And the situation was the same. I had to keep recreating them, and it was super annoying, even though they were decent tanks. But hey, I can be a decent tank as well. We will get to that. We picked specialization 3, Beast Slayer, which increases our damage against creatures, against monsters, and also gives us some damage reduction from those. So it's 1% every 2 player levels up to level 20, and an extra +5. So we have 15% damage against creatures, extra damage, and it's not like damage increase. It's not regulated by the damage increase cap. It's something else. It improves all your damage, including ability damage, spell damage, and so on. And also mitigation. As a shapeshifter, I don't wear armor. My only armor are the hides of the creature. So they're basically like, I think it's similar to leather or studded leather level of mitigation. At least that's what the armor looks like in the character. Honestly, if someone were looking for the highest damage possible, they would take Bestial Wrath. Doesn't matter if it's animals or elementals. You have 4 elementals out with leadership, and each of those elementals would do an extra 1% per level, so 20% extra damage. I didn't even try it because I wasn't really looking at maximizing damage on this character. The way he fights is a little different, as you see. It's more like wearing enemies down slowly. So even though this would technically be more damage in PvE and PvP, I went with this one because more often than not I am hunting in PvE, and I wanted the survivability from the damage mitigation even more than the damage increase. But it's also good to have, of course. So if you are more PvP oriented, which is ironic to come from me because I love PvP, and I think everyone in the community knows it. But yeah, I went with the PvE option for this one. Maybe one day I will go back. I don't know. But this character is not a tamer. He is a beast. I wanted him to be strong on his own. I don't want to rely on summons or pets on him. So that's one of the feat change we did, but that's not the biggest change. The biggest change is equipment-wise. Druids have access to advanced healing feat, which is quite strong. It improves your HP regen by a lot. And that's basically how you heal as an animal, with an animal form, because you can't use bandages. You can use potions, and you can use druid herbs as well. But that's not enough, in my opinion. They don't heal by a lot. So I wanted to be more resilient on this character. When you use the bear form, Ursine, you become rather tanky. It has very good tanking capabilities. But I wanted to be slightly more tanky in all my forms, especially the Panther, which is my ancestry form. Panther is very good to avoid attacks because it has a nice dodge boost. Also inflicts bleed and has armor ignore. It's my favorite form because of those characteristics. But dodge has a cooldown, a 2-second cooldown, or 3 seconds if you're below half stamina. And during that time, you can't defend yourself. You are a sitting duck. And I wanted my Panther form to be more resilient as well. I wanted to be more able to stand toe-to-toe to an enemy without losing a shit ton of HP and suddenly not being able to recover. We could recover using Bite. Do you remember? From the original video? But Bite is on a 30-second cooldown. So we can't rely on it very much. So I thought to myself, well, I can't increase my resilience by getting more armor, because I don't wear armor in animal shape, and I'm usually shape-shifted, right? So since I can't wear armor, I can't increase my armor mitigation in any way. I have very good resists from feats and from the animal shapes, but resists are just that. They just reduce a percentage of the damage you receive. The mitigation that I'm speaking about is an extra layer of damage reduction, which you do have as a druid, but as I said, I think it's leather armor level. You also have where is it? Tough hide, which gives you a chance to completely deflect an attack, but also on a chance, so not super reliable. So how do we become tanky as a druid? Well, increasing our HP is a good way. So Oath of Thanatos is something we already had from our original build, which brings our HP plus 40 points. How else? HP regeneration. Yeah, and HP bonuses. So I have a shit ton of HP regeneration on this character now. And this is probably an artifact that doesn't see a lot of use. Earrings of Life, but suddenly it became super desirable for my build, sacrificing some skills. But hey, an extra 20 points of HP and 4 HP regeneration, which is amazing. So I have HP regeneration in most of all of my jewelry. I think my Kaleidoscope Bracer now has it as well. The one I had before wasn't. I think it was mana regeneration. And I also changed my trinket. When I made the original video, my trinket was the Pathfinder Talisman as a way to recover stamina. Why? Because when I'm fighting and I use Bite, on a living target, I don't recover stamina, only HP. And I didn't want to invest on stamina regen a lot, even though it's super necessary to have if you are a dodger. So the Pathfinder Talisman, if you activate it, it recovers 15% of your stamina before going on cooldown, which is a relatively long cooldown, I think 2 minutes. And that worked for a time, but then I decided to become tanky. So I started using my Druid trinket for an extra HP regen point, but more importantly for that use, for the active use of the item, which is to recover 25% of my max HP every 2 minutes. This is deceptively strong when you are shapeshifted as an animal, which will boost your HP. So with more HP, suddenly those 25% of max HP becomes much more. So when I use this, I heal for like around 80 points of HP. If I bite a corpse, I can recover stamina. Worst case scenario, I can use a total mana refresh and simply go to full stamina. So I don't really depend on the Pathfinder Talisman. It worked for a time, but I find that for my current build, which is based around HP regeneration and sustainability, I think that this one is much better for our needs. So you will see how crazy my HP regeneration gets, because animal forms also give you regen buffs. After a certain point, your regens start to get diminishing returns, but fuck that, I will have all of them. I will have all the diminishing returns I can get for my HP regeneration. The downside, I had to sacrifice a lot of mana regen, so I have to use my specials sparingly. So, with that said, shall we take a look? I am here at the peak of Wormwood to fight the Ancient Worm solo. So I'm buffing up. And we will start as the snake to inflict poison. And the way I fight is I disable my enemy by inflicting poison, bleed, and burn, and then I just keep moving around because I am a dodger. So if I keep mobile, I will always be dodging, and if he does hit me, no problem. When I start moving again, I will recover my HP super quickly because of my insane HP regeneration. So during this fight, guys, take a look down here at my HP bar or at the HP numbers here and see how fast it recovers. Let's go. I will open with a Pounce, which deals, oh, Adamantite, nice prize, which deals more damage from stealth. A lot of damage, as you see. It's based on, but only from stealth, it's based on monsters' max HP, or should I say current HP. So because the Ancient Worm has a shit ton of HP and it's full, it's gonna deal a lot of damage. And remember, I have 15% damage increase against creatures from my beast lore. So let's make it our last target and go for a Pounce and also poison. So look at the damage. Okay, I will start running around to shapeshift into Panther. Look at my HP regeneration. Okay, armor ignore. We want now to inflict bleed. Another armor ignore. Okay, he's bleeding. Now we turn into the dragon. I will use the trinket to recover some HP. Now we want to inflict burn. So, onslaught. I will also bite for some damage. And recovery. Okay, I deflected the fire breath. He's burning. Okay, he healed, he cured the poison. So let's go into snake form again. Why can't I fucking move? Oh my god, I'm almost dead. Okay, I can bite. Okay, stun resistance for the win. Okay. Oh shit, he unequipped my weapon. I found a bug. He's not supposed to do that. Shit. Oh my goodness, if I go down now, it's going to be so fucking sad because I can't use Shadow Strike because he unequipped my... Oh my goodness, this is bad. Okay, look, I have no weapon equipped and I'm taking a lot of damage, and look at my survivability. Okay, I am safe now. I will have to transform again because look, when you are shapeshifted, you have limbs which functions as weapons equipped here. Look at my damage now. This is just fists. I think the ancient world used Dragon Roar as I was shapeshifting, and Dragon Roar unequips. Motherfucker revealed me. Okay. And Dragon Roar disarms. And it's not supposed to disarm you because it's not a weapon. Okay, I shapeshifted into the rat again. Alright, just to recover some HP. But this is good. Look at how fast our HP recovers. But the fucking ancient worm is also recovering. So let's go. I will pounce it as the rat. Because I want to hide again. Yeah, motherfucker revealed me, no problem. We're turning into the snake for poison. There you go. Now we want to inflict bleed. I will bite the fucker. Okay, they are bleeding. Time to turn into dragon. Use onslaught again. Use my trinket to recover. Look at my HP now. In fact, it was perfect that thing happened, because it showed you how tanky the build can be. I was a freaking rat, one of the weakest forms. All it does is stealth around, and I still survived. So I guess that proves the build is quite effective for what it's supposed to do. It doesn't have a lot of damage, as I said, but it's resilient. I can outlast my enemies by doing this. And EPVP, it's basically a banger, because the guy will be bleeding, he will be poisoned, and all the damage he does to me I can recover with bite, with the trinket, and just my insane HP regeneration. So what do you think, guys, about the 3 builds upgrades? Were they better before? Were they stronger before, or are they any better now? Tell me in the comments. I will now get my prize here with this sweet adamantite. I will see you in the next video then. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.